Two Israeli embassy staff have been killed in a shooting in the US capital. The incident took place outside the Capital Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. The museum was hosting an annual event meant to be a reception for young Jewish professionals. The two victims were leaving the event when they were killed. Police have arrested a suspect identified as Elias Rodriguez, a 30-year-old from Chicago. Authorities say he was observed pacing outside the museum before the shooting started. Well, this is where the shooting happened. Emergency crews are near the Capital Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C., just a few blocks north of the US Capitol building. Washington, D.C.'s police chief has detailed the arrest of the suspect after having shot and killed two people.
We believe the shooting was committed by a single suspect who is now in custody. Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security. Once in handcuffs, the suspect identified where he discarded the weapon, and that weapon has been recovered, and he implied that he committed the offense. The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody. The suspect has been tentatively identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago, Illinois.
Israel's ambassador to the US also spoke at that press conference about the two people killed outside the Jewish Museum.
It's a young couple about to be engaged. The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center. I will say this: we are a resilient people. The people of Israel are resilient people, and the people of the United States of America are resilient people. Together we won't be afraid, together we'll stand, and we're going to overcome moral depravity.
Well, US President Donald Trump has just posted to social media saying these horrible DC killings, based obviously on anti-Semitism, must end now. He went on to say hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. Condolences to the families of the victims. So sad that such things as this can happen. God bless you all. And US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has commented on the attack, saying, "We condemn in the strongest possible terms the murder of 2 staff members from the Embassy of Israel in Washington, D.C. Our prayers are with their loved ones. This was a brazen act of cowardly anti-Semitic violence." He went on to say, "Make no mistake, we will track down those responsible and bring them to justice." Well, Heidi Castro has more on this story from Washington, D.C.
D.C.'s Mayor Muriel Bowser said that though this is likely to just be one suspect who has now been detained, she acknowledged that this will likely frighten a lot of people. The Israeli ambassador, who was also present at this news conference, also said that President Donald Trump was almost immediately on the phone with him, saying that the U.S. administration will do everything it can to, quote, fight anti-Semitism and the demonization of the state of Israel. The ambassador went on to describe the 2 victims who were killed as a young couple who, in fact, were about to become engaged next week when they were going to visit Jerusalem or going to Jerusalem. Again, described as a young couple, both members of the Israeli embassy staff. The authorities say that this, again, was a single suspect who is now in police custody. They named him as Elias Rodriguez of the city of Chicago, so not from the D.C. area, 30-year-old man. They say that prior to the shooting, he was seen pacing outside of the Capital Jewish Museum. And then when a group of 4 people, including those 2 victims, emerged from the museum, that is when those 2 were shot. Police arrived. The 2 were unconscious and were not able to be revived and have been pronounced dead. As far as that shooter, again, he has been detained. Police say that after he shot those two victims, then he went inside the museum, but there he was apprehended by security staff within the building. And then when he was already handcuffed, he apparently showed the security guards where the murder weapon, the handgun, was. And he implied, according to the mayor, that he implied that he had committed the shooting. And then he also said that he, while in custody, said the words "Free, Free Palestine," and we heard that echoed in what the other members of the giving this press conference said, including Kristi Noem, the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary, and Israel's ambassador, both there. No, not saying that they're assigning a motive at this point to the shooting, but certainly putting the dots there for others to connect, and also speaking of their concerns of growing anti-Semitism in the U.S.
We're going to bring in Richard Weiss. He's a security expert and analyst. He joins us from Washington, D.C. Thanks for being with us once again, Richard. From what we know of what unfolded, I mean, how do you assess exactly what happened?
It seems this was a well-planned assassination attempt. The gunman staked out the target and waited for an opportune time to attack as many Israeli diplomats as he could. He appears, though, to have acted alone. He appears to have used a simple handgun, not a more sophisticated weapon. So I'm sure the people will be asking about flaws in security. They'll certainly look for foreign connections and other people who might have helped them, but at the present, we don't see any.
No, exactly. I mean, this was a high-profile event, obviously well-publicised. He was seen pacing outside during the event, looking suspicious, as some reports have suggested. I mean, you mentioned a security failure. Do you think that there has been one here? Not
clear. The security guard there did prevent more shootings. They apprehended the suspect after the initial shootings. But they may look at gaps in jurisdiction. So the security guards would be responsible for the facility security. The DC police would be responsible for the area outside the building and so on. So it's possible this person fell through the cracks, but it's just very hard to stop a lone gunman from attacking people. It's there's probably not much advance warning, if any, that they can find.
Your police were at pains to point out that he was not known to police before this shooting. Can you just give us a bit more of a general look at what sort of security protection is there for the average embassy staffer? I mean, is there any? We've heard that these weren't exactly high-profile Israeli embassy staffers.
Right. Certainly for the most senior ones, ambassador, defense attaché, and so on, those people would be well protected, probably have dedicated security people. For lower-level staffers who are just going about town, it's unlikely that they would have special security in most cases. But since it is the Israeli embassy, they may have had stricter internal protocols requiring advance notice of where you'll be, and perhaps have some security provided by the embassy in the vicinity or at the event.
OK, thank you so much, Richard. We'll have to leave it there, but we appreciate your insight. Richard Weiss for us in Washington, D.C.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.